Have you ever thought about how many people pass through the aisles of a store like Walmart each day? Amid the flow of customers, some encounters are far more than mere coincidences. These real facts show that even the most commonplace can hold stories of terror that feel straight out of a nightmare. After all, who imagines that the next person in the aisle could be the protagonist of a real scare? The stories you're about to discover aren't just scary tales. They're accounts that reveal the hidden side of everyday life, where the unexpected turns into tangible terror. What if that customer watching you isn't just a stranger? In places where we feel safe, danger might be much closer than we think, lurking at every moment of carelessness. Get ready to hear 3 real stories that will make you think twice before going shopping. It doesn't matter if we're surrounded by people, fear has a peculiar way of finding those who least expect it. Are you ready to face the reality of these horror stories? It was one of those nights of solitary work where silence felt heavy and every noise seemed multiplied. Mid-shift, a co-worker named Lena noticed a strange man in a worn coat, carrying a large backpack, wandering the empty aisles. His uneasy, fixed gaze followed her every move, as if waiting for something or someone. The air was thick with tension, almost palpable. Have you ever felt like every step is being watched? As time passed, his behavior grew more disturbing. Lena tried to ignore him, focusing on tasks, but unease grew with each sudden appearance between the shelves. He was always in sight, too close. At one point, she felt she had to escape that unyielding stare, as if he were waiting for her guard to drop. Lena retreated into the employee break room, her heart racing. Here, a silent pause can increase tension. The break room felt like a sanctuary of temporary relief. But Lena knew she wasn't truly safe. The closed door felt fragile against the looming threat of that stranger outside, like it wouldn't hold for long. The sound of footsteps outside made her heart pound faster as she braced for the worst. What if you had to hide from someone just a step away from finding you? His shadow lingered on the other side of the door, and Lena wasn't sure if it would be enough to keep him out. When the shift ended, Lena thought she could finally breathe a sigh of relief and escape that stranger's gaze. But as she left the store, she saw him waiting outside, his expression anything but friendly. She quickened her pace, but he followed, now with a determined, relentless look. Each time she glanced back, he was closer. Imagine the terror of realizing someone is following you in the silence of the night, heart pounding with each step. What if you couldn't escape? Lena's attempt to flee only triggered a more aggressive reaction in him. At one point, he shouted something about a fake number, his voice filled with frustration and anger, as if she'd broken some unspoken promise. That was enough to make Lena speed up, almost running. In moments like this, survival instinct is all that's left. Each step, a desperate attempt to escape that threatening presence. The silence around her was oppressive, and the sound of her own footsteps echoed like an alarm of imminent danger. Here, a silent pause makes the heart beat faster, with no other choice. Lena tried to lose him by turning corners quickly, but he persisted with a terrifying intensity. Each shadow seemed to move, and fear consumed her in a way she had never felt before. In desperation, she ducked into an alley, a last resort to hide, hoping he wouldn't find her. But would it be enough? In moments of danger, the mind plays cruel tricks, and fear becomes your only companion, whispering that at any moment, he'll be there, about to find you. Imagine yourself in a situation where everything seems normal, but something dark slowly insinuates itself. That was Mara's experience, young woman who just wanted to shop in peace, but found herself trapped in a nightmare. Walking through Walmart aisles, she noticed an older man watching her. At first, she thought it was coincidence, but with each shelf she passed, he reappeared, smiling with a look that seemed to recognize something she didn't. What if you were being watched and couldn't escape? Mara's discomfort quickly turned to fear, and she tried to distance herself, but he followed with slow, deliberate steps, almost like a predator. The atmosphere around her began to change, every movement feeling like a silent escape from that invasive stare. Desperate, Mara quickened her pace, leaving Walmart and heading into the mall, but he persisted, relentless. In situations like this, every second matters. Each choice could mean the difference between safety and danger, and fear turns into silent panic. Finally, entering a nearby store, Mara asked for help, feeling the relief of not being alone. But the sense of safety was fragile, as the man still watched her from afar, his eyes fixed, waiting for an opportunity. This kind of terror is subtle but deep, leaving invisible marks that don't always fade. The lingering question remains, are we ever truly safe? Because, in an instant, reality can transform into a horror story. It all began with an unexpected reunion. Lucas, a young store worker, spotted an old girlfriend who seemed to be there by chance, but her behavior quickly became unsettling. She wasn't just visiting. She watched him from afar, her gaze intense and unnerving. Each time he tried to escape her stare, there she was, like a persistent shadow. What if you couldn't escape someone who knows you so well? Her behavior soon became threatening. One night, arriving home, Lucas noticed something odd. The door seemed forced. Entering, he found his ex-girlfriend holding a knife, with a cold expression that left him frozen. The silence in the air was suffocating, and Lucas realized he was in a survival game. In moments like these, it's hard to stay calm, but survival instincts take over. The situation reached its peak in a tense confrontation, where Lucas, with no other option, faced what had become a real nightmare. Only with the arrival of the police did the nightmare end, but the marks of that encounter remained. Sometimes terror hides in the closest relationships, and no one is truly prepared to face the shadow lurking in someone once intimate. Danger can be closer than we imagine, just waiting to reveal itself. These stories show that true terror doesn't choose a place it sneaks in where we least expect it, even in the bustling aisles of a store. And you, do you still believe you're completely safe? These real facts reveal that danger can be closer than we imagine, waiting only for a moment of distraction to appear. After hearing these accounts, maybe it's time to pay closer attention to your surroundings. After all, we don't know who might be watching, who might be waiting for a moment of vulnerability. Fear can be our best ally when the unknown approaches without warning. If you want to keep uncovering the dark, hidden side of everyday experiences, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll always be prepared to face the next mysteries. Who knows, in the next story, you might discover even more about the dangers that surround us.